What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking Fantastic Four First Steps, filled with spoilers. We're going to ruin the entire movie unless you've already seen it. So if you haven't seen it, you can stick around if you like, but we won't apologize for spoiling it. You have been warned. And we might even have a Peacemaker trailer that dropped that I just remembered I forgot to load in OBS. So if I'm quiet for a minute, I might just be loading it into OBS. But before we get into all of that fun, Dave, Doug, how's it going, gentlemen?
Well, Keith, I got to tell you, with the comment being in the comment section already, the Fantastic Four was finally a good MCU movie in 2025. I wouldn't say finally, but I would say I'm still feeling the way I did at the theater. I'm sad that I didn't get a chance to see it again before we're talking about it now because it was that good. And I've seen ads and articles that say Pedro will be the face of the MCU going forward. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's a good choice. But other than that, in my personal life, man, I've been pooped. I've had a big weekend. I had a gig that was 3 hours away yesterday, and then 3 hour gig, and then a 3 hour drive home. I was kind of wiped out when I got back. So, and I'm still am. So I guess I'm showing my age. It's almost double nickels. But Keith's gonna get there before I am. So, all right. Hey, Doug, how are you doing?
Dave, rock never dies. And you, as everybody knows, are a lord of rock and roll.
Tell that to Grace Slick.
Well, to answer your earlier question, Dave, I am outstanding. This is a great movie. I can't wait I'm so happy that we get to talk about it. Full spoilers. Going to, as Keith stated, we're gonna ruin it for you. We're gonna spill the beans on everything. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Dave. I did not get a chance to see it again. I've had a very busy weekend, very busy Friday, a lot of stuff going on. Just kind of pooped on Saturday. Had a lot of recouping to do. But yeah, other than that, I am outstanding. I'm glad to be hanging out with you two fine gentlemen.
Indeed.
So, Keith, before we get into our wonderful spoiler-filled review, how are you doing, sir?
Well, Doug, thank you for asking. I am tremendous. Always, always good when I get to talk with you fellow nerds, especially when it's something that is, so enjoyable. So I'm fired up. I can't wait to talk about it more. We got a Peacemaker trailer with an Ozzy song in it, which was just good timing because James Gunn said that was finished before his passing, unfortunately. So kind of cool. But we do got some comments already on YouTube. Carrie said, "I wondered that, and I definitely felt he could take the RDJ torch. I think Pedro is definitely charismatic enough to do so." And Brad says, "Go ahead and spoil. What was the baby all about? Who does he become?" We will definitely talk about Franklin Richards, his powers in the comics, and where we think that is going to go in the MCU, especially in Doomsday and Secret War. So there's a lot to definitely talk about that tiny little baby man, Franklin Richards.
Tiny little baby man.
Not for long. Well, I'm sure the next movie he still won't have grown, but still.
They're gonna give him the Groot treatment. He's gonna be like a kid, and then eventually a teenager that's like won't put down his retro-futuristic video game, whatever they would have in the 50s inspired world of the Fantastic Four. Put down your Game Boy, and it's strapped to a backpack.
It's like the Ghostbusters thing. It's like
Right,
nuclear
yeah.
powered.
I was gonna have a question, but that would be really, really jumping to the end. I would be jumping to the post-credit scene if I
Yeah,
were to
let's
ask
hold off on that.
question.
We haven't
I will
even
not.
put the logo up yet.
And in saying so, let's talk Fantastic Four First Steps. I mean, we didn't have to see their origin again, which was nice. It kind of starts out, we hero. They were kind of did a montage, kind of like the Incredible Hulk, where we don't see the origin. They kind of give us that montage, the introduction to the talk show they're on.
I like that. I like that they did that because it worked really well in Spider-Man Homecoming as well. And it was a nice palate cleanser if you were one of the, 10 people that saw Fan Four Stick and that weird origin story.
Let's not talk about that.
I know it made more money this weekend than all the other 3 films combined. I read
Really?
that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think Fantastic Four Stick, which was on the other day, and I rewatched it thinking, it can't be as bad as I remember, right? It was. Spoiler alert, it definitely was. But
Fantastic Four skin? Is that what you said?
no, I did not. Keep it clean, Dave. Come on. It's a family show. But,
Okay.
it starts out, and it's kind of, Reed's kind of absent-minded, forgetting where the iodine is. And Sue is kind of like in the bathroom, and she comes out, and she said, basically, they got pregnant. And I liked it. I did
Basically,
see,
they did.
I did see it a second time. And, I didn't think about it the first time, but that adds a little weight to their decision later in the movie because they've struggled for years trying to conceive. Because you remember at the beginning of the movie, he's like, wow, we gave up 2 years ago or whatever. We tried so hard and couldn't do it. We gave up. So, little things like that. You noticed kind of the second time around. And I was like, no one can blame them for their choice, except for William, who we work with. But we won't get into that.
You know what? You're right, though. I never really put that weight on it when we saw it. That does add a little bit of weight. See, that's why I needed to see it again. Damn it.
Still time.
That does. Yeah. I mean,
even if they hadn't been having trouble, I think anyone, you two are both parents. I cannot imagine a scenario where either of you would give up your kids that easily.
no.
I think any parent watching that movie would feel the same way. Like, you cannot blame Reed and Sue at all for not just, oh, yeah, here you go, take him. He's good. But after that, then we see the Silver Surfer, arrives at Earth with her chilling message, which I will not try to repeat because there's no way I could do justice to Julia Garner's performance.
Okay, I got you. I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus.
Where's that purple cloud when you need him?
Do not even start with that purple cloud stuff, you two. I had to see Tundra Walker today, live IRL, as people say.
In real life, in case you didn't know.
It is the most accurate version of Galactus. I'm sorry, but in his robot suit, it is a cloud. Sorry, spoilers for everybody who didn't get a chance to see the movie. Third end credit scene, if you wait until after the lights have already come on and the third guy comes in and mops the floor, there's another end credit scene that pops up, and it turns out that it opens up the face and it's a smoky cloud that's inside the Galactus suit. Spoilers.
Yeah, he pulls it off like goggles, like he was skiing.
He's like, whew, glad to get out of that stuffy suit.
Yeah.
They did forget to CG off the cloud's mustache, but, you can look past it.
Yeah, 100%. And after the Silver Surfer gives the message and takes off, her and Johnny might have had a moment, but Reed's like, we got to take off. We got to find this Galactus. They end up, in one of the scenes I really liked, he's like, oh, I've tracked her signature. We know where she's going or whatever. I think we can follow her. Maybe they'll take us to Galactus. It was like the Fantastic Four stuff you got in the early comics, the 80s and stuff, where he was, a scientist first, hero second. And I thought this movie kind of captured that in many different scenes. But, they end up getting off to Galactus' ship, and he senses that Franklin has the power cosmic. And he's willing to trade Earth for Franklin. And of course, Reed, I think the first he's like, wait a minute, I've done tons of tests. He didn't have any special powers. How did I miss it? And he's like, he hid it from you. It's like, whoa. This
Get smart.
Yeah, this baby in the womb is hiding it from his dad. So, but they end up turning him down, refusing that offer, as you say. And in the best comic book movie scene in a very long time, they escape. And they're like being chased by Silver Surfer, and Sue is going into labor, and they don't have their light speed mechanism, so they're like shooting off of a star, getting the Silver Surfer stuck in a black hole, all while she's giving birth too. And it was just so well done, so enjoyable. It was one of those scenes where you find yourself creeping up on your seat, unknown. And for those of you who have seen it, if you haven't seen it like in IMAX, you definitely need to go see it again, because it is worth the price of admission to see that scene in IMAX.
It was very good.
Yeah, nothing to add here. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I...
Hold on one sec. Sorry. Brad says, my theater did not show that post-credit scene. It just showed the Doctor Doom scene in the cartoon. Did you not stay 5 minutes after the movie ended? It was then. They stopped, they put the lights on, and then they go, thank you for staying, and they showed it, the cloud one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, Doug, didn't mean to
it's only after the last viewing of the night, like the 10 o'clock show, you have to be there for that
Yeah,
one.
that's also true, yes. It's very specific. And it has to be on a Thursday. They didn't show it on the weekend show. But it was there. I saw it.
Doug saw it.
You can trust not your status quo.
We're 100% correct every time.
All the time. Every time. Always right.
And sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying something, Doug. Do you remember?
Right. Sorry. I just wanted to add on to what you were saying about how you said in perfect comic book fashion, there's so much about this movie that just screams comic book. A lot like the new Superman movie. There was, at one point, we had like this montage in the beginning where they're fighting a couple of their different villains and everything. And I love that. I love that they really just leaned into the cheese of early Fantastic Four comics and just, you know what? Add more comic book stuff into these comic book movies. I think we as a people, we're ready for it. We can handle it. We don't need you to, sanitize our comic book movies so much.
I hope that is the lesson that's learned from the movies we got in July. Lean into it. Don't try to get away from it. The people who come to see these movies are pretty much comic book fans, and I really think they got used to the casual fan, trying to get the casual fan in, and they're, sort of getting away from their base. And I think these two movies have shown. Play to your base.
Well, a lot of the casual fans... Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Both of these movies that came out this month could have been origin stories. They were the first in their series, and they didn't do it. They both didn't do it, and they were both still great movies. They're like, all right, we have these characters. We just want to tell this new story. We don't have to start over and wait to tell this story until the second movie. We want to tell this story now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good format.
Yep, definitely down for that. Oh, it looks like we got Ginger, the Fox Horror Queen, saying, hey, good day. Welcome in. Always a pleasure. I don't know if you've seen the Fantastic Four First Steps, but hopefully you have. And
full spoiler review. We're breaking it down, giving away all the meat and potatoes that came in that movie. Hopefully you saw it. If you didn't, maybe come back and watch this later. But so far, consensus, excellent movie.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
And Dave, I agree with you, what you were saying about how these two movies, Superman, Fantastic Four, they're essentially origin movies, but yet they didn't show the origins. Not really. You get kind of little bits of flashback, little bits of info and everything. But yeah, we know the stories of these characters. We know the correct stories and backstories of these characters pretty well enough. I don't think it needs to be told.
Story.
we ignore the incorrect ones.
But the Fantastic Four return to Earth, and it's kind of the scene from the trailer that we saw where they're like, how did you stop Galactus? We didn't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here's the thing. He's really big, you guys, and he turned a planet into lava, so we didn't.
Oh,
we haven't really formed a game plan yet. All right.
one thing I forgot. When they're flying out there and Ben says, what is he, like some giant dragon? Do you think that was a reference to Fin Fang Foom? Was that a little Easter egg in the movie?
God, I forgot.
I was kind of watching it. I'm like, are they kind of making a little tongue-in-cheek reference to Fin Fang Foom? I don't know, but it's fine. So, you know, they're basically saying, hey, he offered us a deal that, you know, we couldn't take. What was the deal? He wanted Franklin. And they're like, so you're just going to let him
So
eat
you
her?
gave him your kid, right? Yet, I mean, as a very logical man, I must state outright that the only true logical thing to do is that you give up your child, a living human being. You give it up to a space monster. That's the logical thing to do.
So you guys had twins. Which one did you give up? No, we just had one. What? But, I mean, they're getting what we assumed in our, Theory Palooza. They're getting a little backlash from the people like, hey, this is the needs of the many over the needs of the few being one.
Or the one.
Yes. Well, the few, because the parents would, feel bad having to give it up. But
come on, you had to complete the Spock line.
I know.
That's all.
I know. But Sue kind of gives a very impassioned speech to a crowd out like, hey, we're all family here or whatever, and just really brought it about. I like that they showed the strength of each character in different times. It wasn't just all Reed. It wasn't all just his intelligence getting him through it. Johnny had a good scene we'll talk about in a minute. Sue was very smart and empathetic and impassioned. And, the Thing with his little... I thought it was interesting that they chose to not have Alicia Masters in this. But, the Thing had or Ben Grimm had like another love interest. But they did show the Puppet Master as someone who's one of their villains in this world. I was like, because for those of you that don't know, Alicia Masters, the Thing's wife in the comics right now, is the adopted daughter of the Puppet Master. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if they plan on bringing the Puppet Master back at some point and then having that, or just not having Alicia Masters at all. I don't know where they're going with that, but I thought that was interesting.
I do like also when Sue decides to go out and give her speech, it's not to berate the people. She actually says at one point, I think it was either Ben or Johnny, somebody said like, why are they acting like that? I can't believe this. And they're scared. And that's true. They were all very scared. And so she empathizes with them and she, acknowledges, look, I understand that you're scared. I am too. But what Galactus was asking, that was too high a price. And, you have to understand this is just not something that we're willing to do. But we're also not giving up on you either. So letting them know, look, I understand we're all a big family, okay? You're scared. I'm scared. But we're not going to just let him come in and destroy the Earth.
I really thought the way they could have pushed that point further was have the cast of High School Musical come in and sing, we're all in this together. But they didn't. I thought a very big missed opportunity.
Yeah, that would have really brought it home, man. I agree 100%. Absolutely. No, I was going to say,
Absolutely.
that scene, yeah, it's just a little, one of the little things that'll set movies apart. They probably wouldn't, in a lot of movies, they probably wouldn't do that. And then the public would finally just like, well, they've been saving us all this time, and then they would back them. But that speech made a difference. It would have made a difference to me in real life if somebody said, hey, just came out and explained it like that. Mm-hmm. That would have made a difference for me. So I like that they included it in the movie.
And Brad wants to know, how do you feel about them changing Reed from the Multiverse of Madness? I mean, I thought Pedro was great, and I know John Krasinski had only agreed to cameo as him in the Multiverse of Madness. He did not want to be Reed Richards full-time in the MCU, so Pedro was great, so that was cool. And Carrie said, Keith, 10 out of 10 High School Musical reference. Thank you. But, next, we have two things kind of going on. Johnny having talked to the Silver Surfer and learned that, die with yours was the like salutation she had told him back on Earth earlier. He starts studying all of those messages that Reed has recorded from deep space and starts putting things together, thinking he has something there. While Reed, to the surprise of nobody who saw the first couple scenes, decides he's going to try to teleport the Earth away, and basically has this plan, and they get everybody in the world working together as one, building these bridges to kind of teleport Earth across the universe so Galactus can't find them for a long time, and he'll have to, feast on other planets for a long time to get to them.
And look, I won't name names or anything like that, but I may have overheard somebody saying that, they didn't care for this movie because it was too predictable, that they knew that Reed was going to offer up this plan to teleport the Earth. Well, yeah, that's generally how movies work. We've mentioned this before, that one of the key things that you're supposed to do in any kind of play, movie, TV show, if you show something on screen, it makes sense to then use said thing. Otherwise, what is the point of showing it?
Yeah.
They showed this teleportation device earlier on in the movie, and they showed Reed experimenting with it, moving an egg from one part of the room to the other. What would be the point of showing the audience this tool if it wasn't going to come back to play later on in the movie?
Agreed. If they wouldn't have shown it, then this person would have probably complained, oh, all of a sudden he just knows how to teleport things. Well, how convenient. So, yeah.
Well, and then, the fact that they show that, and then, so what he wants to do. That just means what he wants to do. It could fall apart. Well, like we'll get into a little bit later, there could be things that could happen that could alter that. And you're expecting an outcome and you get a different outcome.
Yes,
and
exactly.
To segue into that, Silver Surfer returns to Earth, destroying all the bridges but one. Which I saw the green light, and I remember elbowing Matt, who had went to the movie with us, and said, like, they're teleporting Galactus now. And even though I guessed that, guess what? It still didn't ruin the movie, because it was still great. But, they have to pivot again because they don't know what to do. They had this plan to teleport Earth. There's no way they can build all these bridges again by the time Galactus arrives to feed. So they come up with a new plan. And that is basically to use Franklin as bait to get Galactus into Times Square so they can teleport him away.
And really, he's so big, what do you expect him to do? Other than that, what would you expect him to do? You know what I mean?
But then you also get Johnny he figures out that language, pieces enough together to kind of figure it out, and he ends up talking to Silver Surfer, finding out her Shelabal. She's from Zen Lodge. She basically offered herself as his herald to spare her planet. So you kind of get that, sympathy a little bit. She understands.
Yeah. Johnny recognizes, you have a family too. So do we. We're not too different, you and I.
That's the best, thing about the first family of Marvel. And they made it a family movie. Everybody had their role. You could tell they acted like a family because they all seemed to have the same values, for something like that, for him to figure out her language so he could speak to her, and try and relate to her. That's something like past Johnnies wouldn't even think of. They're just there for a punchline, They were just a punchline and just to be there for the action. And this character was so much deeper than that.
They did a great job. He still had the same sort of playboy type thing, like he likes girls, he likes to date
overconfident, constantly flirting.
Yeah.
But he was more than that. He was more than a one-note character. Both of you are so correct, and I'm so glad that they did that. They gave more to the character of Johnny. They, allowed him to show that, he deserved to be on this team of super scientists that were going into space as well. I mean, I think that's one thing that a lot of the other movies struggled to demonstrate is why would Ben and Johnny be involved? They don't seem anything like Reed and Sue, so showing that, no, Johnny's got a brain too, and he may not be doing exactly what Reed is doing, but he also kind of thought outside the box. None of them even considered translating the Silver Surfer's language. And not only did he translate it from a bunch of just, random recordings, but then he learned enough to speak to her to even her surprise. She's like, You you speak my language?
I don't even know my language. Yeah.
And it's enough to, despite what I thought in our Theory Palooza, I didn't think Silver Surfer would turn on Galactus. And we'll
I
get to
didn't
that
think
in a
so
minute.
either.
Yeah, I really thought that wasn't going to happen. But Galactus arrives on Earth, and we kind of had this comment on Facebook that said, this movie's called First Steps, but Franklin didn't take his first steps. But Galactus took his first steps on Earth, people. That's where it comes from. I know I'm reaching. You can reel me in if you want, Dave. But, Galactus arrives. Galactus takes the bait, but of course he is not fooled when they try to do the old bait and switch. Johnny puts the fire in his eyes and blinds him for a minute, and they switch it out. But he's too smart. He scans, finds out where Johnny took the actual baby, and starts moving away from where they need him to teleport him, a million miles away. So without a ship, it would take him, forever to get back. And that's where the kind of fun begins, because we do get...
Keith, did you mention why Galactus wanted the baby?
I did mention that he had the power cosmic.
Okay. So one thing that I thought was different from how this has been told in the past is, from what I understand, usually Franklin is used to create like what universes in a vacuum space or whatever for Galactus to feed on. But it seems like in this movie they sort of switched it up a little bit to where Galactus was looking for a replacement, like something out of the Santa Claus. He was looking for somebody to take on the role of being the next Galactus.
In the comics, at one point, it was said that Franklin will be the only survivor of this universe and will become the next universe's Galactus.
Okay.
So,
And Galactus, he just knew it, man. He had the feeling deep inside. He knew it.
But I don't know that Galactus knew what he was getting into, because like, oh yeah, I want this baby, but then it's like, I don't think he knows how to raise a baby, because like he can't walk or feed himself just yet, and I assume he's got to do all that before he can start consuming worlds, right?
yes, probably.
No, he goes right to it. He's got a big mouth, man. He should go
all,
right to
all
it.
of a sudden, I could just see Galactus coming back. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna come back for him in a couple of years. If you could just, I haven't changed him in about a week.
I swear at one point too, he like thought of creating, because he could create pocket dimensions basically, kind of like Lex Luthor did in Superman, and create stuff that Galactus could feed on at one point. I think was one of his plans in the comics, which maybe that was what,
That was the story that I was aware of.
Yep. So, let's see. We got anyone else want to see Ben build on a relationship with that Jewish school orphanage teacher caretaker? Yeah, I mean, Natasha Lyonne from Poker Face, played it. I thought she did a great job. That'd be interesting. I was shocked a little bit that they didn't have Alicia Masters, but yeah, I'm all for it, They can always introduce her later and have it, and they can have this one kind of be an interim relationship until that happens, or be his, soulmate or whatever in this universe before it goes away.
I thought her role for being who she is was kind of small. I thought it would be bigger than that. I thought something would like happen near the end that would maybe foreshadow what we're going to see in the future for the Fantastic Four, but it didn't happen. So who knows? Maybe she does have a bigger role later.
Maybe.
And as Galactus is kind of walking towards the Baxter building, grabs Franklin, just kind of pulls him out, and he's like hovering there. And the Fantastic Four do what they do best. They're working together to kind of save him, with Reed ending up finally getting him out of his hands. He's like, taking wrenches and hitting the armor. And then finally, Sue uses her force fields and is just pushing Galactus back towards that portal that they need to open up. And then, like I said, Reed was turning on like these jets to kind of pull him back. At one point, he was holding on to a building to kind of stop it, and Ben runs through all those columns to knock it down to kind of force him back. Once again, it was another, good scene where they're working together to get everything done and get what needs to be done. And, Sue is just exerting all the force that she possibly can to try to push him towards it, and finally succeeds. But unfortunately, it's not closing fast enough, and Galactus starts coming back out. Johnny decides that he is going to sacrifice himself to knock him in there, and then at the last minute, Silver Surfer kind of knocks him out of the way and does it herself.
That was sick. I did not see that coming. Like you, Keith, I was a bit surprised that she finally did. Part of me was like, maybe they'll have the Silver Surfer sacrifice, herself again, like in the previous Fantastic Four movie. But I was like, maybe they won't. I don't know. It wouldn't make sense for this version. But yeah. And then the way she did it, I love that. You're like, she kind of knocks Johnny. No, she smacks him out of the way with the board. I mean, like, that kid has a concussion now.
See, that was one of the things that marked it down to a 7 for me. I didn't like how they weren't, you're not going to agree, but I don't like how they weren't the heroes in their own movie. She did the last thing, and she's not part of the Fantastic Four. So why are
she did a part of it?
Yeah,
but
see, I knew you wouldn't agree with me, but that's how I feel.
Sue died pushing him down the street to get him into the portal. They did nothing.
It wasn't the knockout blow, man.
It doesn't have to be the knockout blow to work as a team. And Johnny was willing to do it. And instead, Silver Surfer knocked him out of the way so she could do it. Oh, and Brad says I was rooting for him. I assume he means the Thing with her, and 100%. I think everyone was. Because you even saw the scene earlier on when he was like in his trench coat and his hat, which was pulled straight from the comics, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But he sees like the TV footage of him as when he was still human. And he had talked about how good looking he was and stuff. And that's probably a tough thing. It was a huge thing for him to overcome in the comics. And they just kind of hinted at it in that one scene. So yeah, I think everyone was hopefully rooting for Ben to, strike up a good relationship with, Natasha Lyonne's character, because he deserves it, darn it.
Little fun fact, I don't know if everyone out there knows this, but you know how we've mentioned time and time again that the Ninja Turtles took a lot from the Marvel Universe, and in fact, they sort of tongue-in-cheek consider themselves a part of the Marvel Universe, where the original backstory was that they gained their mutant powers in the same accident that cost Daredevil his vision. Well, the reason why whenever they go out, when they leave the sewer, they're always wearing a fedora and a trench coat is because of the Thing.
That's awesome. I did not know that either. That is a very cool little thing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of nods to the Marvel Universe in the Ninja Turtles. They fight the Foot Clan, and we know that in Iron Fist and Daredevil, they're going up against the Hand.
Yep. I did know that one. That's a cool one.
Yep.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Yes, I said it. Absolutely. How do you like them apples?
Absolutely.
And Sierra shouted yo on Twitch. Yo, always good to have you in, Sierra. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have you seen Fantastic Four First Steps yet? Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Sorry, I'm drinking a little tea there to help with my throat. Because
I can't wait to see it again. It was such a good movie that I wish I would have had the time to see it again this weekend, but I definitely do want to see it again.
And then, we almost forgot to talk about the very ending of the film where Franklin uses his powers to revive Sue Storm after she passed on. And that was something that he was able to do. He actually, I think, revived Galactus at one point, too, in the comics. Not this movie. You guys didn't miss a scene. But he had...
They didn't get that tight yet.
Not yet.
That tight.
So I loved it that they were taking a lot out of the comics that he does, because in the comics he can like warp reality, he can build pocket universes, he has psionic abilities including telepathy, telekinesis, astral projection, and precognition. He has energy manipulation, obviously he can resurrect people, and then he has immortality and cosmic legacy, which is him destined to survive the universe and become the next Galactus. He actually, and I hate this, but I'm going to mention it. In recent comics, he goes by the name Powerhouse.
That's a dumb name.
I do not like it either.
We were short on names that day.
Yes, they were. But
It's like after midnight, they're sitting in a smoky writer's room. Okay, so what are we calling Franklin on? He's got to have a superhero name.
Oh, he's a powerhouse.
I don't know. And all of a sudden, you hear on the radio, "Here's a brick house, powerhouse." Screw it, we're done.
he really does have a lot of power. Hey, are we still having that party at your house tomorrow? We got it.
Whoa, wait a second. Listen to me here. Hear me out. Hear me out. Powerhouse.
And one of the things he does is he put like mental blocks on himself to suppress his powers.
Smart.
Because you don't want to get too powerful too quick. He does like unlocks them once a year to fight with the Future Foundation to find, I don't remember. That was a while ago.
Every year,
Hilarious. It'd be hilarious if he goes and he visits the X-Men. Like, what do you mean you guys have to train to control your powers? You don't just put mental blocks on yourself? Yeah, I did that at like age 5. What the heck's wrong with you guys?
Man, you guys stink. And that's one of the things that separated him, and in the comics for a while, they explained that even though he was a mutant, he also had some, cosmic radiation effects too, because his mutant abilities came out when he was very young. So most mutants wait till their teenage years for their powers to manifest, and his manifested really young. So I believe that's been retconned since, that it was because of the cosmic radiation stuff, and they just did it. But,
So, do you think, since you brought that up, I am curious now, do you think they're going to go the route eventually in the MCU where Franklin also has the X gene on top of whatever else he's got going on?
Yes, I do believe so. Because they did kind of mention that this is the first person
like...
born with powers. Kind of hinting at mutants in the movie.
I was going to say, it does seem like they're going in that kind of direction when we were watching Miss Marvel. That was what they did in one of those episodes. They had the little, X-Men Sting play, and, it's discovered that, she also has an X gene on top of having, powers from the bracelets or whatever. And then we find out Scarlet Witch is possibly a mutant, possibly a witch, possibly gets her powers from the Infinity Stone. I don't know. It's kind of all up in the air.
She's got a lot going on. But
whatever the story calls for.
She's totally dead and won't come back in the MCU.
Okay.
We saw a body and everything.
I see her signing a 9-picture deal. That's what I see happening.
Yes. I would be okay with that. And, well, the movie ends. And there was no post-credit scene, so let's get to our ratings. You're going to ask a question, Dave. Should we ask the question first or talk about the first post-credit scene first?
Who's going to ask the question?
You were. When we first started.
I was?
You said,
when we first started, you said, I have a question.
Yeah,
but I'd have to jump all the way to the end.
It has to be after the credits, after you tell what happened.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
So the mid-credit scene is 4 years later. Sue is reading The Hungry Caterpillar to Franklin, and he wants his favorite book, which is The Origin of Species by Darwin. I thought that was great. I didn't know if The Hungry Caterpillar was a reference to the Galactus wanting to eat the planet, 4 years earlier. But she goes to get the other book, his other favorite, and she hears some noises. She's wondering who's there, and when she comes around the corner, Dr. Doom is basically kneeling in front of Franklin with his mask off. And it ends.
And I expected him to turn around maybe, and then everybody go, woo! But, you can't have everything. But my question is, at this point, because at the end of that scene, or I don't know if it was the very end of the movie, it said the Fantastic Four will be back in Doomsday. So obviously they're not coming out with another movie before that. Like we were talking about earlier, is he going to be a teenager when we get to Doomsday? Oh, and will Doctor Doom have had him this whole time? I didn't want to spoil that before we even start talking about the movie, but so do you think Doctor Doom will have him this whole time and they're still coming after him? And those are the two in the ship that we saw in Thunderbolts?
After seeing this, I no longer think that Doom was there to take Franklin. I'll explain.
Okay.
I think he obviously figured out, okay, this giant space monster that was going to eat this planet. I do think Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is going to be from the 828. Because we did see, Latveria there with no one sitting when she was talking to the bunch of...
Whatever their version of the UN is.
Yes.
Like the coalition of countries or something.
Right. I think...
Go ahead, Dave. Laugh at it.
I think he was there
coalition of countries
as a representative of the coalition of countries. And he was talking to Franklin. He knows he has immense power, and Doom wants to use it for himself. But he also is like, I'm not going to take this child from this family because they won't stop hunting me. But if I befriend him and start working with him and they think I'm all right, then I can basically use him as I will. So I don't think he was there to take him. I think he was just there, and that's why he had his mask off, showing him, listen, you're probably scared. I have a mask on. I look really deep, but this is why. Here's my face, like as a gesture of friendship or openness towards this young man. That's what I think he was
doing.
Do
you think he recognizes Franklin's intelligence as well then?
Yes, 100%. And he knows that, I can't take him by force. I need to either use his powers, but you know what I think is going to happen? A little what's next for y'all. Because I thought about this as I was watching the second time. He's probably going to figure out that Franklin won't do what he wants him to do. Because Franklin probably leans towards being more lawful good or chaotic good or neutral good than Doom wants him to be. But Galactus' ship is still in orbit around Earth. They teleported Galactus, not his ship. And in the first Secret Wars back from 1988, I believe, Doom uses Galactus' ship when Galactus is trying to eat Battleworld and brings the power into himself. I think he is going to figure out a way to use Galactus' ship technology to steal some of Franklin's power. And that's what's going to kind of kick off Doomsday. He is now going to be, once he gets that power, he's going to see and understand more of the multiverse than anything else. And he is going to probably be too powerful. And I think that ship that we see at the end of Thunderbolts is the Fantastic Four coming to the 616 because they need help. And they know that there are heroes there that fought off Thanos and did all that stuff. So I do think, at first I thought it was going to be Doom on the run. But I do think Doom is going to basically have the 828 under his complete control by siphoning off some of Franklin's powers.
Not a bad what's next.
Well, see, now we know what the 828 stands for. That was the birthday of what was it?
Jack Kirby, who's the co-creator of the Fantastic Four, was Stan Lee.
So what's the 616? Do you think?
That's a good question.
I don't know, because I've heard that referred to as the Prime Earth's number way back in the comics before the movies even were a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't know if it was ever anything. Could have just been whatever number, one of them decided to pull out their ass that day.
Yeah, but they don't do random numbers. They always, like a license plate, you always got to check out what's on that license.
In the movies, sure.
It's always like ASM 586. You're like, what is Amazing Spider-Man 586? What?
Right, yeah.
Oh my God.
Right. They do that in the comics too.
Oh yeah.
At least. Yeah.
And it's nice that, Stan Lee has gotten so many kudos for all of his work he put into, Marvel Comics and Timely Comics before that. It was so nice that Jack Kirby's finally getting a little recognition, more than he has, at least within the movies. The comics, he's always gotten it. It's nice seeing, because we saw in Thor Ragnarok, they took a lot of Jack Kirby art inspiration for a lot of that movie. And this one did the same thing. And it's great to see. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad he's getting the recognition he deserves. And man, I hope they continue on with that
Same.
in the next few movies.
And can
Guys,
I
I
just
gotta
say,
tell you this. When we were just talking about the 616, I just looked it up, and you're gonna love what this says.
oh, what is it?
Earth 616 represents the core Marvel universe known as the status quo.
But we're not your status quo, so down with the 616.
Yeah. We like the 838 or the 313.
Actually, I like the trip 888.
Ooh, you don't want to know the reason why the meaning of the number.
Oh, let's hear it.
It says, according to David Thorpe, who created the number for it, the number 616 was chosen as a variation of 666, the biblical number of the beast, which was meant to convey creators' opinion of the Marvel universe at the time.
Okay, so a little dumber than I would have thought. Okay.
Yep. No little Easter eggy type stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Not nearly as creative as most of the other whole number things are.
Well, usually they are, so I guess I had to look it up.
They can't all be winners, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say, I am glad, going back to the whole Doom thing, one thing that I was really worried about, I thought for sure that once again, this was going to be an origin story. I thought for sure that they were going to tie Doom's origin in with the Fantastic Four. And that was one thing I never liked about all of the old Fox movies. I don't know what their fascination was. Like, I understand why they wanted Doom to be, the Fantastic Four's, like, primary villain. Because he does show up as the big bad, the main villain in a lot of Fantastic Four stories. But his origin isn't always necessarily tied with theirs. Like, I always thought that was a little unusual. That, in the first Fantastic Four movie, he went up into space with them. Like, well, that's kind of odd. And then in the Fan-4-Stick, he went through the teleporter with them. Again, a little weird. And it's like they always forget to make Doom this, super smart wizard ruler of another country. They always forget that that's a huge part of who he is. And I am glad that they kind of, they're bringing that back into his normal continuity.
Well, in the comics, too, he was a student with Reed Richards in college.
Okay.
And he thought he had a very big ego. He thought he knew everything, and Reed was trying to stop him. He's like, I think some of your calculations are off on this experiment you're doing. And it ended up blowing up in his face, and that's why his face was so deformed, and that's why he wears the mask. Which, it doesn't look like his face is going to be that deformed if, he's taking it off to, excuse me, show Franklin, but I have a theory for that, too.
Little fun fact that I want to sneak in while you're taking a sip there. For those of you out there that are fans of the Venture Brothers, they are also constantly, throughout all the episodes, they're referencing a lot of DC and Marvel comics. And the villain in the Venture Brothers, Baron Underbite, he is a knockoff of Victor Von Doom. And he also wears a mask due to... He went to college with the super scientist of the Venture Brothers, but instead of Baron Underbite being the one who did the bad calculations, it was Dr. Venture that screwed something up and blew off Baron Underbite's jaw. And so now he wears like a metallic jaw and everything, and he's also the ruler of his own country, and everybody there loves him. And
it's like Higgins' bottom tooth from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Now,
that's funny.
Do you want to hear my other theory?
I'd love to hear your other theory.
Why his face?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to hear it. Okay.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, guys. And this is based on a post that Robert Downey Jr. posted. He posted an image of the West Coast Avengers that Dr. Doom was in, saying he's doing some prep. That wasn't Dr. Doom in that comic.
Okay.
It wasn't Tony Stark either. It was Christoph, his adopted son. Doom was thought dead for a while in the Marvel Universe, and Christoph, his adopted son, took over as Dr. Doom. And even though he wore the mask, his face underneath was not scarred and disfigured. So I think that he might be playing the adopted son of Dr. Doom in 828.
that kind of ties back into what our earlier theory was when they first announced that they were bringing back Robert Downey Jr. We all basically said it would seem weird for him to play Victor Von Doom. And you had theorized at the time, it might have actually been both of you, that had said, well, he's probably not playing Victor Von Doom. He's probably playing a variation of Doctor Doom.
So we may even find out that the Doctor Doom from the 828 is gone, and that may be, he may be the real Doom, and we may, so when they recast Doctor Doom, if they do, which they've said they're going to after Secret Wars, we may see he's the real Victor Von Doom, and he was just playing Christoph Von Doom.
That'd be an interesting way to go about it.
It definitely would.
I've got a theory that Oh, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I just said that could be the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I agree. I still feel kind of weird about them bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play like I don't have an issue with you bringing back an actor to play another character. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have had, the former Johnny Storm come back to be Captain America. We wouldn't have had a lot of these other characters come back to play other roles. So I don't mind that too much, but it's just weird in the same universe to have the same actor come back and then play another very prominent role like that. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm still going back and forth on how I think that's going to work out. But I've got a theory for you two gentlemen that you will not like. And Keith, you can go ahead and get ready to reel me in.
Oh, Keith's gonna reel you in now, huh?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
We both
Keith,
might
Dave,
reel you in, sir.
You. Yeah. So I don't think, regardless of who this Doom is going to be, whether it's Christoph or Victor, whoever it is, I don't think they're going to be, the next time they appear, I don't think they're going to be a bad guy. I know that the next movie that, Fantastic Four are supposed to be in is, Avengers Doomsday. But I think that might be a play on words. I think he showed up to ask the Fantastic Four for help. I think he wants to join forces. I don't think he wants to be an adversary.
I like it.
Now, wouldn't that be something if he was Christoph and the real villain of Doomsday would be Victor Von Doom?
That would be fun.
They have kept that under wraps the whole time, and he's going to be the big bad.
Now, that would be a twist.
That would be,
That would be fantastic. Because what I think is going to happen in Doomsday, this is my other theory, because of Franklin's ability to create pocket universes and stuff, Doom is going to lose at the end of Doomsday. But in a last-ditch effort, he is going to use Franklin's powers to create Battleworld, which will bring them into Secret Wars in the next movie. So a lot of people think we're going to get the same kind of ending we got in Infinity War, where the heroes lose. Thanos got the gauntlet completely together, ended up snapping out half the universe, and then obviously had to save it later. I think Doom is going to lose, and as he loses, his last-ditch effort is going to create this pocket universe with Battleworld, where all of these heroes are going to show up for Secret Wars. And I do think at the end, we've heard that there's going to be a soft reboot at the end of Secret Wars, kind of leading into the MCU post then. And I may think Franklin may be the one who develops that universe. Like, all the universes could be dying, and he creates this new universe where all the heroes go. And
your theory is that he's going to be the one to restart the MCU.
Correct.
Okay. I like that. That's a good theory.
Yeah,
I've been wondering, ever since that announcement came out from Kevin Feige that they're going to be doing, a bunch of recasting and everything, I was wondering how they might go about it. Because I honestly don't know what the MCU version of Flashpoint is. Or the Marvel Comics version.
It's basically kind of... the only time they've ever done an alternate reality like that, they've done a few, but House of M is a big one, where it was an alternate reality. Yeah, yes. Oh, wow. That shows how thick that is, Dave.
Beauty.
It's pretty thick.
I'm glad you thought I was talking about the book, because this is a family show. But yeah, and we can get a little...
thick boy in your hands?
Huh? Oh, wait. I thought you came down on me earlier, okay?
That's right. Now we're joining forces. But yeah, I mean, we could see something along those lines of how House of M down the road if Franklin stays in there, And one of the scoopers said, "Oh, I've heard they're thinking about doing a Powerhouse Franklin spin-off show." I'm like, there is not a chance in heck that they're thinking of doing a Franklin Richards Powerhouse spin-off show right now. I would give up my kids. I wouldn't. If that's true.
You would give up your kids to the giant space monster?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? They're going to do a Franklin Richards House of M, but here's how it's gonna be like Baby Groot.
Yes.
Little 5-minute shorts. And it's just gonna be Franklin crawling around pooping himself.
And I do hope when he recreates that new universe that Galactus is still in it, because I want Galactus to come back. And obviously Silver Surfer is no longer his herald, to come back with a new herald, and I'm hoping it's Terex the Tamer, who is like a rock monster who carries a big freaking axe. And one of the reasons he chose Terex as his, and it wasn't right after Silver Surfer, but one of the reasons he chose Terex, because he was like ruthless, and he's like, I won't have to worry about him turning on me, because he's not going to feel sympathy for the planets he takes me to. But of course, he ends up turning on Galactus. If you've read, our back issue, if you've watched our back issue breakdown shorts for the trial of Reed Richards, he comes to Earth and basically says, you guys got to kill Galactus or I'm going to destroy Manhattan. And, Galactus comes in and he figures out that, hey, I'm going to eat the planet. I need to eat the planet because I'm so weak from chasing Terex. He ends up dying. Well, he starts to die, and Reed brings him back to life, and that's why he's on trial. But one of the things that happens in this whole thing, so if Terex does come back to Earth as his leader and he kind of turns on him, Frankie Ray, who was one of Johnny Storm's girlfriends, who also had flame powers because her dad was actually one of the guys who invented the original Human Torch, the android from the Invader days. I know I'm getting super convoluted tale here. But she ended up having flame powers too, and she offered herself up as the Herald of Galactus, much like Silver Surfer did. And even though he was weakened, he said, because you already have powers, I won't have to give you as much power cosmic, and took her on as the Herald. And she ended up, becoming the new Herald, and obviously kept him away from Earth since she's an Earthling. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see Terex come back with Galactus in tow, like ready to throw down.
That way you can fight Korg.
He would be the most hilarious. Hello, I am a herald, and I am heralding Galactus. Sorry, forgot to say, your planet is doomed. He is going to eat it. Okay, goodbye.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Say the things
yes, you there.
Say.
Is this a joke? No, nope, sorry, not a joke.
Nope. I promise you, a giant purple monster is coming here to eat your planet.
You sound like Doug. That's what Doug used to sound like.
Oh, Doug's dead. Oh, no, wait, Doug's alive.
All right. Oh, and then, might as well just briefly chat about that final little, second final post-credit scene. But the little cartoon that they had referenced in the show about, the thing saying it's clobbering time and he doesn't want to say it. He eventually does. But, we saw so many little things. We saw Diablo. We saw Puppet Master. We saw, who else did we see? Hold on a sec.
Mole Man.
Yeah, we saw Mole Man again. We saw Diablo, Puppet Master, the Wizard.
Mole Man is a friend.
Yep. And Dragon Man and the Ghost. So even though John Malkovich was cut from the movie as a ghost, we did see cartoon Ghost with Dragon Man and Puppet Master. So they really hit a bunch of, the major Fantastic Four villains in this first film, even though we didn't see it all. I'm hoping we still get, like the Wizard putting together the Frightful Four to kind of fight them. They might want to name shop that. But since they've already fought him once, he would have to come back with help to take them on. So it'd be interesting to see where they go. We do know Marvel has already greenlit a Fantastic Four sequel. So as long as the script and everything holds up and things are good, we will get, Fantastic Four second steps. Probably won't be called that, but I don't know.
Now, do you think in this sequel movie, do you think it'll take place with them already on the 616 Earth, or do you think they're going to travel back to their version of Earth?
I think it'll be post-Secret War, so I think it'll be on whatever new universe they're all in.
Okay, all right.
That universe is going to be oversaturated with heroes and villains.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a Beach Boys song. With the heroes and villains.
Sounds like my comic book rack.
I'm not getting it. I'm sorry.
You've never heard the song? It's actually a Brian Wilson song from Smile called Heroes and Villains.
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'll have to play it for you one day. So,
One day.
should we rate this movie once again? Couple days out from our initial viewing at the theater on Thursday.
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
I wish I had a chance to see it again. Like I said, I only had one little knock on it. It wasn't like it was a soundtrack I was going to go out and buy, though. I can't remember any of the music that was in it, and that seems to be a huge thing with the movies these days. We're setting the tone. But this one didn't need it. It was good. It was hopeful. Like I said, it was had a lot of similarities to Superman. And the only knock on it I had was that what I said about the Silver Surfer kind of taking him out. But, then you think about it a little bit. It's still going to be a knock for me, but who else was going to do it? Because she had to push him in there and disappear as well. What are we going to lose one of the Fantastic Four in the first movie just so they could go searching for him like Spock or something? I don't know. But that would be my only knock on it, and it's a small knock. It didn't ruin the movie whatsoever. Unfortunately, I haven't got a chance to see it again to add anything to this, but like Keith said earlier, that was they had been trying for years. I didn't factor that in to what the mood of the moment was, where she was like, they've been trying for 2 years to have a baby, and then they finally have one, and it's going to be taken away. That added some depth to it, so I'm going to give it at least a half point for that. Thanks for pointing that out, Keith. And yes, sir. And so I don't know, for my rating at the theater, I gave it a 7.5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna move that up to an 8, and I'm planning on seeing it again sometime this week.
Excellent. And nothing has changed from the second time. I think I saw more things. I enjoyed it probably a little bit more. I love the score. I forget his name. Doesn't matter. His score was fantastic. The little Fantastic Four theme song just kind of plays in my head. Not as much as the Batman theme. It's not like that. But I still love it. And I just thought the way they put this movie together was so good. It's so fun. And the scene when they're escaping from Galactus, Silver Surfer's chasing them, Sue is giving birth. And like Dave pointed out, I think in our spoiler-free review, he didn't spoil it. He just said Reed is multitasking, like giving birth to a baby, keeping the ship, calculating where they have to go because they don't have their light speed engine, how they have to, slingshot off the thing. So many things were going on, and it was just so great. We got Johnny and Ben kind of bickering as he's trying to shoot, and it's getting warped because they're so close to the black hole, and he's like, just figure it out. He's like, just keep the ship, steady or whatever. And you got the family bickering. You got everything I think you need in a Fantastic Four movie. This was the Fantastic Four from the comics brought to life in a movie, which we have not gotten yet. And sorry, Tundra Walker, the first two were nowhere close to this. This is head and shoulders above what we've ever gotten theatrically from the Fantastic Four. I've seen it twice. I cannot wait to see it again. Hopefully I'm going to see it next weekend because my son still hasn't seen it. But I'm going to bump this up to an 8.8. So close to a 9. I think it might get there, and I do think, like having watched it a second time when I was sitting in the theater, when I'm walking out, I was like, you know what? I do think this movie has the kind of staying power. Like, I'm going to be able to watch this 10, 12 years down the road and still enjoy it. When I know not all movies have that kind of staying power. I think this one does, but obviously time will tell.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I really do think this movie is going to have a lot of staying power. This is one that I can foresee, once it makes its way to streaming. I can see myself sitting down and watching it again, or, going through a whole Marvel, watch party where I've got Iron Man and Thor and the Avengers and everything. I've got them all queued up, and I'm like, I better toss Fantastic Four first steps into that mix because it's just as good. Now, when we did our At the Theater review, at the time, I rated it an 8 out of 10. And I really don't see a reason in changing that. It was a great movie out of the theater. I was very excited to see it. It was really, really good. As Keith and Dave put it, it was like the Fantastic Four out of the comics come to life. It was like they jumped off the pages. We got to see this bright, fun, colorful movie that just embraced its inner comic book weirdness, and I want more of that. Please, Marvel, DC, keep doing that. Keep serving up the just strange stuff, because this was an amazing movie. It was so darn good, and 8 out of 10 when I was out of the theater. Still an 8 out of 10. I don't see anything that could possibly change that. I mean, other than I might have bumped it up to a 9 had they shown the real Galactus, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. So, I know that the real Galactus is hidden inside that metal suit, and he really is a cloud monster. But, okay, go ahead and, have your cake and eat it too, Marvel.
And if you're out in the chat, please let us know what you rated on the Doug scale, 1 to 10. Obviously, a 5 is average, 10 is masterpiece, 1 is Rebel Moon or less. So please let us know what your ratings are if you've seen it. I mean, this movie made like $218 million worldwide. Its budget was $200 million. So I think that's pretty good, which was almost the exact same that Superman made opening weekend. So, the international markets have been a little lower than expected, but, our country's not exactly everyone's favorite right now around the world. But
another thing that I appreciated about this, I don't even know. I'll assume that it is because of Fantastic Four, but when we went to go see Superman, the theater was slammed. I loved it. It's been a long time since the three of us have gone to the theater, and, we were bumping elbows with people. Same thing, we went to Fantastic Four. We were back at our normal theater, Imagine, way better than AMC. Boo, AMC, boo. But yeah, we went back to Imagine, and it was packed, and I love that. That was amazing. It really adds to the movie-going experience, in my opinion. When you walk in, you see a bunch of other people are there and just as excited as you.
And I just want to say that Amazon and Fandango, if you have another Tuesday night pre-show for any movies, please let us see it at a theater that doesn't have seats from the 1960s in their theater. So please. And I just want to say, Carrie says, an 8 from me too. It was just a good Marvel movie or not. It was just a good Marvel movie or not. I think the casting was great, and they have folks who can carry the MCU forward. 100%. She said the audience applauded. At the end, it was sweet. Yeah, we got a little.
I think they did in our theater too.
Which is very nice. We love when that happens. Just a good movie. Sorry. No, that's fine. You don't have to apologize, Carrie. We all have different opinions. I mean, I think. Hopefully, like you said, this is going to be the cast that kind of carries it forward. We're going to get the mutants. We're going to have the Fantastic Four. We've heard about recasting. We hope we get, Captain America, Steve Rogers, Captain America back, maybe Iron Man, Tony Stark as different actors. If they're going to, have actors play multiple roles, which we even heard Mads Mikkelsen was up for Doctor Doom when he already played, oh my God, I forgot it. Yeah, thank you, Dave. In Doctor Strange. So we're all for it. But are you guys ready for the biggest bit of news we got out of San Diego Comic-Con on Saturday?
Well, that depends. Are you talking about the trailer for Peacemaker?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I am ready for us to get immediately demonetized off of YouTube.
No, it's Warner Brothers. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. And also the music. You mentioned that it's playing what
Ozzy.
song?
Ozzy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're definitely getting double demonetized.
Oh wait, hold on. She says, "No, I meant the edit from my opinion." Oh, got it. Okay. I needed punctuation. I thought it was a good movie, even outside for being a Marvel film. Yes. Okay, got it. Thank you for clarifying. We appreciate that. All right, we are gonna watch the Peacemaker trailer, and please, WB, we'll show tiny clips. Please don't demonetize our video, because then we're gonna have to cut it out and redo it.
They're watching right now.
James Gunn, we know you're a fan. We know you've hit our Twitter handle thing because I did the Gronk thing. I didn't. I'm just kidding. But please don't demonetize.
He did say he would look into it for you.
He did.
That's true. He did.
All right. Are you fine gentlemen ready to watch?
Yes.
And we get to see Eagly back. We see that sweet ride that Chris is now riding. So, has a lot going for it already. I mean, we know that this is the DCU where the first season took place in the DCEU, but we're going to have an explanation for that, I think, coming up here rather soon.
I don't know if we'll like that explanation.
Oh, come on,
I
Dave.
figured
You
as
love
much.
multiverses.
It's your favorite.
I figure
You
if
wear a
Peacemaker is
clown
doing it,
costume.
it's going to be ridiculous and stupid, and I can't wait.
Agreed. It's going to be something that's so silly, awkward, and just blatantly, crazy that it'll be, because they're not going to dig into it. It's not like, here's the start of our multiversal extravaganza.
That's
This
what
is
I'm
just
hoping doesn't happen.
This is
I
just
hope that
them-
doesn't happen.
trying to explain how this character went from the
Yeah.
DCEU to the DCU and having some fun with it.
Well, and didn't he say there was over 100 multiverses? That scares me.
They will probably not even explore a handful of them. It's going to be like, it looked like we'll see it later on in the trailer, but like they opened up a doorway, so we might see a couple of dumb, stupid doorways, like some Family Guy or Simpsons gag or whatever. I can see James Gunn doing that.
You
But,
don't
like-
know where it's going after this. That's what I'm
Yeah,
worried
no,
about.
I doubt it's going to come up after this.
Okay.
He just likes to do silly comic book stuff to do silly comic book stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
We'll know very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Getting some good action. We see her explaining, hey, take something bad, do something good with it. Trying to, a little silver cloud, a little silver lining to all of this. She's the Keith role and Peacemaker and the 11th Street Kid. So, that's good to see.
Yeah, she's just keeping it real, man. Keeping it real, staying positive.
I'm already noticing in this trailer the two different Peacemakers. In the beginning, the one on the motorcycle, I'm assuming is the alternate universe Peacemaker, and then the one with the larger logo on his chest and the ridge on his helmet is the one that we know and love.
Correct.
Love, tolerate, enjoy watching. Yeah.
Enjoy watching. Yes. Oops. And we do see kind of what I think is going to be a part of this second season quite a bit is the fact that Peacemaker killed Rick Flag Jr. And now Rick Flag Sr. is the head of Argus, which we saw from Creature Commandos. And he is going to be coming after Chris. Because he
Also
killed
in the
his...
Superman movie.
Yes, he was also in the Superman movie. But his role in the Superman movie was basically just telling, hey, you're an alien, you don't get any rights here on Earth.
Right. He was a talking head on their version of Fox News.
But he was there, man. He was there.
No, I agree. I'm glad he was there. It's nice seeing these, characters show up in multiple movies. Mm-hmm. So it's always good when they get that sort of thing going. And they already see it. Like Peacemaker just has this thing. It's pocket dimensions and stuff, and other universes. Like, okay, why does this guy have? And of course, he's like so much better over there. So
good. In his house, right? It comes from that room in his house where his dad kept all the helmets.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's his dad invented this pocket universe, then, I assume.
That is what I would assume, yes. But
Or stole it from somebody smarter than him.
Yes, had some minion created for him and then did away with him.
Oh, Steve Jobs did. He pulled a Steve Jobs.
100%. Now it is kind of interesting that he has him captured, and he does scenes. Now it could be a trailer trick, because all of a sudden we see him kind of beaten up pretty bad, and he's leaving, he's free, and maybe we're supposed to assume that he let him go, but I don't know if that's really what happened. I don't know if that's the sequence. I mean, it may be something where his buddies break him out, or they let him go. Like, we can't keep you, but we're going to be watching you. Or even more of a leader of Argus thing. I own you now. You're working for me. You're back on the Suicide Squad, buddy. And when I call you, you better come. And when I need something, no matter how much you think you shouldn't be doing it, you better be doing it.
I could see that. That would be get him back into, some other adventures, getting back into other movies, where we're seeing him forced into situations he doesn't want to be in. But I could also see him, also coming to terms with, or, doing a forgive and forget with Rick Flag Sr. too. So who knows?
That is definitely a possibility.
There could be that, with all the blood on him in the next two scenes, that he, beat the crap out of Rick Flag and just left.
Or in that universe, it's a different. He figures out it's a different Peacemaker now in the DCU, even though both universes, Peacemaker killed Rick Flag. This is like a different one because he's already switched. Because we saw, you're wearing his clothes, you're doing his stuff, and he seems to be enjoying his life there much better. Because one, Harcourt seems to be, okay with dating him and stuff, and so maybe he figures out, hey, I'm not actually from this universe, I'm from a different universe, and he probably won't spill the beans that he killed Junior there too, because
right.
They have said anything that's mentioned now from the DCU, anything from the DCEU that's mentioned in the DCU is canon. So we do know that he did kill him in the DCU. And there you kind of see what Doug was talking about, the different sized emblem, the different helmet. So there obviously is going to be two Peacemakers, at least two, in all of this, because we know Dave wants thousands of Peacemakers all coming together. He wants
Dave is just already like, oh God, no.
He wants, the older Peacemakers who played him in, past live actions to come back and team up. Wait a minute. Oh, no one else has played
You're the wrong guy.
Yes.
And where's Thunder Walker when you need him?
He is at a Night Ranger concert at Motor City Casino.
An evil Russian Peacemaker, and an alternate Bizarro version, War Maker.
You like that they're kind of like, oh, let's go save Chris, let's go get him. It's our Chris, we need him. So I wonder if there might be a third universe in all of it that he ends up ending. They all come back, and it's the DCU and not the DCEU. So it's just a plot point to have this other Peacemaker universe that they're in for a bit. They save Chris, but by the time they come back, it's obviously the DCU now. Just a guess. I don't know. Not an official theory, because
it's an official theory. Everything we say is correct.
That would be a weird way to do it for the entire universe, you know what I mean? Because usually you save something like that for a movie. And if you're doing it on a TV show, despite how popular this TV show is, it's not going to grab the casual viewer, you know what I mean? That we were talking a minute ago about catering to, that you shouldn't anymore.
But the casual viewer might not have watched season 1. So wouldn't know what's going on. And may not watch this. And, obviously he got a at least in the theater we were in, when they showed Peacemaker, got a big laugh. And so it seems like the hardcore fans, the comic book nerds.
Hardcore. That's her name.
Yes, I know. And we do see two kind of peacemakers there going at it. And that might be like almost a world between worlds, where maybe that's kind of where all the doors are to the different dimensions. Because he did say something during Comic-Con, during the Peacemaker panel, where he said there are at least 100 universes in the DCU in relation to Peacemaker's dimensional gates. So I know
It's like
David.
Monsters Incorporated.
Yes, it does seem very much like
the same
Monsters
thing during
Incorporated.
Shazam 2.
What'd you say?
You said the same thing at Shazam 2.
Yeah, it's
He loves
in
Monsters.
this one he can fly though, huh? He's got that rocket pack.
Yep.
We didn't. He didn't just charge at him and jump. He was flying.
They fly now.
I wonder if that came off of his helmet, just like spin to do his.
He
back.
earned the jetpack by being a Mandalorian. Oh no, forget it. He.
Oh, he went and saw the Mythosaur. Yeah, I get it now.
Yes.
Nice shirts.
August 20. He does. He has some nice shirts there that he's wearing. Chris looks pretty darn good in him too, if I might add. But yeah, I think they're going to. I could even see the dimensional doors, the multiverse kind of stuff, only being the first couple episodes, and then they'll get to a different sort of deeper story, kind of like the season 1, where we find out the whole universe is in trouble, and
I got a theory.
Oh, let's hear it.
Maybe it starts off that way. Maybe it starts off with him. He's already feeling bad about it, sitting on the porch step talking to, I forgot her name already. But he was talking to her, and he's like, how much he's been enjoying this other universe. Maybe that's what he's been doing between seasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's where we catch up to it.
Oh, that's a good. I like that. I like that, Dave. I hope you're right. All right. Doug's not back, but we'll finish it off. Where Vigilante, they're at Vigilante's home, and she's like, he's not as nerdy as he seems. Which is, nice. I'm glad Vigilante's back. He was such a great character from season 1. And just see him be nerdier and stuff like that is just going to make it all the better.
He's a comic relief. He's a good counterpoint to Peacemaker.
Yep. Agreed. So some of the updates that we got via James Gunn from the Peacemaker panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Peacemaker Season 2 takes place 1 month after the events of Superman.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl will appear in the first episode, including Maxwell Lord. There may be other members of the Superman cast in the season. He would not elaborate on that anymore. I don't know if
Mr.
that
Terrific.
That was my first thought. Jimmy
Keeping
Olsen.
it all connected.
Yep. And then, like I said earlier, Peacemaker Season 2 will establish that there are at least 100 universes in the DCU in relation to Peacemaker's dimensional gates. And then the final little tidbit. It's going to be more extreme than Season 1.
Yeah, the skull spiders kind of,
Do you think that was the DCEU?
That's what's left of it, yes.
That's very Doom Patrol-y. You know what I mean?
It did feel
did seem
very
that way.
Doom Patrol-y, yeah. Oh, how nice would that be if one of the doors opened up into the Doom Patrol universe, just as kind of like a final nod, a little wave goodbye. Oh,
If we
I
get
kind of hope
Robot.
we do that.
Well, they kind of wrapped that up, so I don't know if they can go any further with it. But yeah, it'd be cool to see Brandon Fraser again.
Just do it like, Deadpool style, where when he wanders into the X Mansion and says, "Oh, couldn't afford the other X-Men," and we just see them closing the door.
Yeah.
Or Peacemaker walks in and Robot's in there. He's like, "Who the F are you?"
Yeah. Oh,
you
that'd
okay?
be great. That'd be great.
You need an absolutely drink because I just said it.